This video is about the most fundamental human desire to love and be loved. But what if the way you learn to be loved is exactly what is keeping you from ever feeling truly seen? Today, inspired by the spirit of Paulo Coelho, we're going to walk into a hard truth. Most of us were taught to trade pieces of ourselves in exchange for affection, and we called that love. Stay with me until the end, because this might be the moment you finally understand why love has felt so heavy, and how to begin again. From very early on, many of us learned to trade pieces of ourselves in exchange for a little affection, performing for love and calling that performance who we are. We forget that love was never meant to be a bargain, but a meeting between two souls who are already whole. Before the story begins, leave in the comments the city you're watching from, and at the end, don't forget to rate this story from 0 to 10. Now, take a breath, and let this story speak to your heart. There is a curious paradox. To love is unconditional, but to be loved is conditional. By the time you've crossed into your 30s or 40s, you've seen enough of life to know that the fairy tales of youth were, at best, charming illusions. You begin to understand that love does not appear as a reward for virtue, nor is it guaranteed to remain simply because you've been loyal, patient, or deserving. Some have poured themselves, drop by drop, into the vessel of another's life, only to watch it leak away through fingers that once clung to them. Others still dwell beneath the same roof with their chosen companion, yet feel as though they've become a stranger at their own table. And there are those who have wandered from heart to heart, thinking that the next embrace, the next yes, would finally fill the hollow within, only to find the emptiness echo back at them. You begin to wonder, why has something as natural as love become such a labyrinth of conditions, unspoken bargains, and quiet disappointments? You sense that somewhere beneath all the poetry and promises, there is a truth you've been avoiding. Because love, as it is sold to us, is not love at all. It's something dressed in its garment. And here perhaps lies the seed of our quiet discontent. We have confused the appearance of love with love itself, the structure that holds it with the living thing it was meant to carry. Somewhere deep inside, your soul knows that love is not a bargain. It is a way of remembering who you are and what you were created for. From our earliest breath, the world whispered its bargain into our ears. Love is something to be earned. Behave as you are told, and you will be cherished. Fulfill the needs of another, and you will be kept. And so we learned. We learned to perform, to mold ourselves, to become what others needed so they would stay. We learned that love was transactional, that being loved required abandoning parts of ourselves, that to be chosen meant making ourselves smaller, quieter, more convenient. We traded our truth for approval, our authenticity for affection, our wholeness for the promise of belonging. And now, years later, we wonder why love feels so exhausting, why we give everything and still feel empty, why we're surrounded by people yet profoundly alone. Let me tell you about a woman named Clara. Clara was 34 when she realized she'd spent her entire life trying to earn love, not consciously. She didn't wake up each morning thinking, "Today I will betray myself for approval." But that's exactly what she'd been doing in every relationship, every friendship, every connection. She'd learned early that love was conditional. Her father's affection came when she succeeded. Her mother's warmth appeared when she behaved. Love was the reward for being good enough, smart enough, agreeable enough. So Clara became a master at reading people, at sensing what they needed and becoming it, at moulding herself to fit the shape of their expectations. In her first serious relationship, she loved a man who needed someone stable, grounded, predictable. So she became that, buried her spontaneity, her wildness, her unpredictability. When that relationship ended, she loved a man who needed adventure, excitement, freedom. So she became that, exhausted herself trying to be interesting enough, exciting enough to keep his attention. When that ended, she loved a man who needed peace, simplicity, domesticity. So she became that, quieted her ambitions, made herself smaller, more manageable. Each time she thought, this time, if I just become what they need, they'll stay. They'll love me. I'll finally feel whole. But they never stayed, or they did stay, and she felt hollow anyway. The last one, the man she thought was different, left after 3 years. He said something that shattered her. "I don't think I ever really knew you. It's like you were always performing, like you never let me see who you actually are." Clara was confused, hurt. "But I gave you everything," she thought. "I became exactly what you needed. How can you say you didn't know me?" But he was right, because in trying to become what he needed, she'd erased herself. There was nothing left to know. That night, alone in her apartment, Clara looked at herself in the mirror and asked a question she'd been avoiding her entire life. Who am I when I'm not trying to be loved? She had no answer, because she'd spent so long being a reflection of others' needs that she'd forgotten she was supposed to be a person on her own. She'd confused love with negotiation, intimacy with transaction, connection with performance. She thought love meant, "I will give you everything you need and in return you will not leave me." But that's not love. That's a hostage negotiation where you're holding yourself captive. Here's what Clara and most of us never understood about love. We were taught that to be loved, we must be worthy, that love is something granted by others when we've proven ourselves deserving. But this creates an impossible situation, because if love is conditional, if it requires you to be something specific to receive it, then you can never truly be loved. Only the version of you that you're performing can be loved, and somewhere inside, you know this. You know that if they saw the real you, the messy, complicated, imperfect you, they might leave, so you never let them see it. You keep performing, keep hiding, keep betraying yourself for scraps of affection. This is why so many people feel desperately lonely even in relationships, because they're not actually in the relationship, their representative is. The version they crafted to be acceptable, and the person loving you, they're not loving you, they're loving the performance, the mask, the carefully curated version you've allowed them to see. Real love, the kind that actually nourishes, can only exist between two people who are brave enough to be real. To show up as they are, not as they think they should be. But most people never do this, because being real is terrifying. What if the real you isn't enough? What if you're only loved because of the mask and removing it means being abandoned? So let's be clear about what love actually is, and what it isn't. Love is not needing someone to complete you, changing yourself to keep someone, trading your truth for their approval, becoming smaller so they feel bigger, earning affection through performance. Love is choosing someone from wholeness, not need, celebrating who they are, not who you need them to be, showing up fully as yourself, even when it's uncomfortable, honouring both your truth and theirs, staying present through difficulty, not just comfort. There's a phrase that gets misused constantly. You complete me. It sounds romantic. It's in movies, songs, poetry. But it's a lie, and it's a dangerous one. Because if someone completes you, that means you're incomplete without them, which means you're not loving them, you're using them to fill a void, to fix what's broken, to become what you're not. That's not love. That's dependence dressed up as devotion. Real love doesn't complete you. Real love celebrates you. It says, "You're already whole, and I'm choosing to walk alongside you, not to fix you, not to fill you, but to witness you, to honour you, to grow with you." Clara sat with this for weeks, months, and slowly, painfully, she began to understand. She realised she hadn't really lived love. She had lived negotiations, bargains, contracts. "I will be what you need, and you will not abandon me." But that's not intimacy. That's strategy. And it left her exhausted, empty, unknown. So she made a decision, a terrifying one. She stopped trying to be loved and started learning to love herself. Before we go on, I want to ask you something. When you look at your own life, does your idea of love feel more like a celebration or like a negotiation? If you feel safe to share, write in the comments, "I've been performing for love," or "I'm learning to love as myself." Your answer might be the first act of honesty your heart has received in a very long time. Clara's journey wasn't about self-love in the Instagram sense. It wasn't bubble baths and affirmations. It was about stopping the performance, stopping the negotiation, stopping the constant scanning of what do they need me to be, and starting to ask, what do I need? Who am I? What do I actually want? These sound like simple questions, but when you've spent your entire life being a mirror for others, they're terrifying. She started small, tiny acts of self-honouring that felt radical. She stopped saying yes when she meant no. A friend invited her to something she didn't want to do. Instead of going and resenting it, she said, "I appreciate the invitation, but that's not for me." It felt like breaking a sacred rule, but nothing catastrophic happened. The friend didn't abandon her. The world didn't end. She stopped editing herself in conversations. When someone asked her opinion, she gave it. Her real opinion, not the one she thought they wanted to hear. Some people didn't like it, some got uncomfortable, but the ones who stayed, those relationships got deeper, more real. She started spending time alone, really alone, not scrolling, not distracting, just sitting with herself, getting to know the person she'd been avoiding for 34 years. It was uncomfortable. There were moments of grief, mourning all the years she'd wasted performing, all the relationships built on false pretenses. But there were also moments of discovery. She remembered things she used to love before she learned to love for approval. Music she enjoyed, books that moved her, dreams she'd abandoned because they didn't fit the narrative of who she was supposed to be. And here's what happened. The more she honoured herself, the less she needed to be loved. Not because she became cold or closed, but because she stopped being empty. She wasn't looking for someone to complete her anymore. She was already complete. And from that place of wholeness, love became something completely different. She met someone, not while searching, just naturally, at a bookstore. A conversation that felt easy, real. And for the first time in her life, Clara didn't perform, didn't try to become what he needed, didn't scan for what version of herself would make him stay. She just was herself. And it was terrifying. Because she knew, if he didn't like the real her, there was nothing to adjust. No mask to put on, no performance to perfect. But something miraculous happened. He stayed. Not because she was perfect, not because she became what he needed, but because she was real, and he was real, and two real people were choosing to see each other. This is the difference between needing to be loved and choosing to love. When you need to be loved, every relationship is a negotiation. You're constantly adjusting, performing, earning. When you choose to love, from wholeness, not emptiness, you're free. Free to be yourself. Free to let them be themselves. Free to stay or leave based on truth, not fear. Clara learned, I love you is not the same as I need you. I need you says, without you I am incomplete. I love you says, I am whole, and I choose to share my wholeness with yours. One is dependence, the other is freedom. If you're still here, thank you. Most people click away when love stops looking like a fairy tale and starts looking like inner work. But the most important part is still ahead. Because now that you've seen how Clara stopped performing for love, we're going to go even deeper, beyond romance into love as a spiritual path. If this journey is resonating with you, please leave a like and subscribe to Alchemist Mind. It helps me know that these stories are meaningful to you, and it truly motivates me to keep creating more. Stay with me. What comes next may change not just how you love others, but how you walk through the world. But here's where it gets deeper. Because love isn't just about relationships. It's about how you move through the world. Love, real love, is a spiritual practice. It's how you connect with something larger than yourself. How you touch the divine. How you remember you're part of everything. When Clara stopped trying to be loved and started actually loving, herself first, then others, she discovered something profound. Love isn't something you get. It's something you are. You were born with an infinite capacity to love, not to be loved, to love, to give, to see, to honour, to connect. But somewhere along the way you learned to hoard it, to give it conditionally, to trade it for approval. You started believing love was scarce, that you had to earn it, compete for it, protect it. But love isn't scarce, it's infinite. The more you give, truly give, without expectation, the more you have. This is the paradox. When you stop needing to be loved, you become capable of loving. And when you become capable of loving, you attract people who can actually see you. Clara learned to love without attachment, to give without keeping score, to stay present without needing guarantees. She learned that love is not the absence of pain, it's the willingness to stay present through pain. She learned that the deepest form of love is not possessing someone, but setting them free. And if they choose to return, it's not out of obligation but genuine desire. She learned that love is not about finding the one. It's about becoming whole enough that you don't need the one to feel complete. And here's what this looked like practically. She loved her partner, but she didn't need him to validate her worth. She loved her friends, but she didn't contort herself to keep them. She loved her work, but she didn't sacrifice her well-being for approval. She loved life, the messy, complicated, imperfect reality of it. And for the first time, she felt free. So let me ask you, are you loving or are you negotiating? Are you showing up as yourself or as the version you think will be accepted? Are you choosing people from wholeness or clinging to them from emptiness? Are you loving freely or trading affection for approval? Here's the uncomfortable truth. If you don't love yourself, you'll spend your life trying to get others to do it for you, and it will never be enough. Because external love cannot fill an internal void. It's like trying to fill a cup with a hole in the bottom. No matter how much is poured in, it drains away. You must become whole first, not perfect, not flawless, but whole. Accepting of yourself, honouring of your truth, comfortable in your own presence. Only then can you truly love, and only then can you truly be loved, not the mask, but you. So here's where you start. Stop performing. For 1 week, stop trying to be what others need. Just be yourself. Notice what happens. Spend time alone, not distracting yourself, but actually being with yourself, getting to know the person you've been avoiding. Say no when you mean no. Stop betraying yourself for approval. Honour your truth, even when it's uncomfortable. Ask yourself daily, am I doing this from love or from fear of not being loved? Remember, you cannot control whether others love you, but you can control whether you love yourself. And that's where it begins. Clara is 38 now, still with the man she met at the bookstore. But the relationship looks different than any she had before. Not because he's perfect, not because she is, but because they're both real, both whole, both choosing each other daily, not from need, but from genuine love. She still struggles, still has moments of wanting to perform, to adjust, to earn. But she catches herself, remembers, returns to her truth, because she learned the most important lesson. You were not born to be loved by becoming less. You were born to love by becoming more yourself, more whole, more real. The most fundamental human desire is to love and be loved, but you cannot truly experience either until you stop trading your soul for approval. Love yourself first, not as selfishness, but as foundation, and from that place, love freely, without agenda, without negotiation, without fear. Because that's when love stops being a transaction and becomes what it always was meant to be, a celebration. If this story touched something in you, I would love to know. What part of this video spoke most deeply to your own experience of love? Tell me in the comments. Your words might be exactly what someone else needs to read today. If you'd like to keep walking this path with me, remember to subscribe to Alchemist Mind and turn on the notifications so you don't miss the next stories. And when this video ends, don't rush away. The next video YouTube recommends to you might be the next step on your journey, especially if it's another reflection about love, forgiveness, or awakening. Wherever you are, may you stop performing to be loved and start living as someone who finally knows they are worthy of love just by existing.